Welcome everybody, and we're absolutely delighted that we've got so many people here. I don't need to shout anymore, I don't think. Really delighted we've got so many of you have attended. So the last time we were here is 2019, and in 20 we didn't do anything. In 21 last year we had did a series of videos which went out on our website, and we had a lot of feedback from those. That was really good. And 22, here we are. We're live here. So just to start off, I just want to say that we're all being filmed this afternoon. So welcome to those people who are here for the topics, and welcome to those people who just want to be famous. So, but I'm sure you're all here for the topics, really. So, so in conjunction with Sentry, we've got this is the agenda. Hopefully you can see that. It's in conjunction with Sentry Farming, who we do quite a lot with and come across quite a lot in our activities around the country. So Rebecca, I think, is the financial director of Sentry, and we've obviously got two speakers down here. Rebecca, could you just give us a thumbnail sketch of Sentry, please, in terms of how many thousands of acres you farm, etc.? Hold on, I think you should have a microphone coming.
I'll shout here.
There we go.
Sentry is an employee-owned company, and we've been like that for the past 20 years. We now currently farm around 45,000 acres. That goes from Lincolnshire right through to Kent and across to Dorset. Alongside of that, we have advisory division, and we advise roughly for clients for about 75,000 acres.
Wow.
So there's not usually a challenge that passes us that we haven't come across in our own business, and we like to preach what we practice as well. And thank you so much, Gary, for inviting us here today.
It's okay. Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. That was just a few words from Rebecca rather than me saying them. So we've got the whole land family business team here. You met some of them, and most of you know most of them in any case. So they're about the place around. And Carol, my co-director and co-owner, is standing at the back there, and many of you know. And then we've got Accession Rural Wealth, who is Emma Wilcock, our chartered financial planner, sitting here, who'll be talking. So basically, it's land family business and Accession Rural Wealth, two businesses that we have that work dovetail together in all the work we do. Okay, so the main points of discussion. So what we put together this evening is the topics that we come across. And I think it looks as if they are topics that you all want to see, so you've come along. So in terms of the natural capital and succession planning is a key thing. We're doing that nearly every day of the week at the moment, succession planning, and we do a lot of benchmarking. And so Sentry do a lot of benchmarking and been doing it at the same time as us, I think 23, 24 years, Alec. So it'll be good to see the way that Sentry benchmark a lot more detail than we do. And then with just a bit of discussion at the very end on should you be handing down the farm. And again, that is a topic that we hear nearly every day of the week. So we just going to say a few words about that. And we have got a few people around in the audience who will contribute, I hope. Anybody ask any questions any time, and that would be good. So move on to the next slide. If I don't know where the machine is it over here? Okay. Yes, okay. So the Rural Business Survey that we have is on your seats. Okay, so we've got a handout on your seats, and in the middle of the handout there's all the numbers. So I'm not going to go through all the numbers in detail, But you will see there, so some of the key points I wanted to say. So Alec here is going to be talking about variable cost benchmarking. We benchmark all the way down to the bottom line. So some of the key points is that in our bottom group, the total labour and machinery costs, which are the fixed costs we will talk about, because all the other fixed costs are basically more personal, if you like, more pertinent to the business. So the bottom 25%, total labour and machinery 216, whereas the variable costs are 162. And then as you go up from the bottom, this is the 20 harvest, go from the bottom 25% up to the top 10%, the actual variable costs increase and the fixed costs decrease from 216 right down to 143. So the fixed costs are well below the variable costs in the top group, and it's the other way around in the bottom group. So I think Alec's going to be talking about those and talking a bit about fixed costs as well. So Alec and I have had a debate over the last few weeks about which are the most important, and perhaps some of you may have some comments about whether we should be focusing on the variable costs. Scrutinising is the word, I think. Variable costs are scrutinising fixed costs. So where would you get the best return from that time spent on labour and machinery or variable costs? And Alec will be talking about those. Some of the key, you'll see halfway down, roughly halfway down, is groundswell margin. So on the complete right-hand side of the handout, we have the groundswell benchmarking group, and we've been including these for some time now. And I think the conclusion is it's a completely different way of farming. And that you'll see down there that the groundswell margin is 32 pounds per acre. So I'm dealing in acres, not hectares. 32 pounds per acre. The average for conventional farming is 35. Completely different way of farming, but you end up roughly the same point. And I think that's the main thing. So just on groundswell, we're very lucky to have Paul and Alex Cherry here, who are actually put together the groundswell show. It's very much a family-run show, as you may be aware. Alex here actually puts it all together and tears his hair out for weeks. Alex, did you want to just say a few words about the numbers you're expecting this year compared to the numbers you've had over the past few years?
Thanks, Gary.
This is Alex Cherry.
Hello. Nice to see some familiar faces. Thank you very much. Groundswell is on 22nd and 23rd of June at our farm in Weston, 45 minutes down the road. And we are expecting 5,500 people this year, which is exciting, considering we started 5 years ago with 400 people in a barn scratching their heads trying to talk about no-till farming and how we can make it work. And I think you'll all agree that regenerative agriculture is now starting to come into the mainstream, but we're all, including ourselves, still trying to work out how to do it. So hopefully you'll be able to join us in June. And thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Alex. What date in June?
22nd, 23rd of June, Wednesday and Thursday.
2 days, yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Alex. So just to finalise on this slide, with the numbers are in your hands, and that's the topic there. So margin before rent and finance, you will see 3/4 of the way down have all got brackets on. 20 harvest, minus 15 even in the top 10%, minus 36, minus 60, minus 201. And going back to 19 harvest, the average was minus 2 per acre, and the 18 harvest was minus 2 per acre. So I think the conclusion from that is, you don't make much money out of arable farming. And so that's why we're here, hopefully, to talk about other things in terms of that. So just a couple of slides then to... Here we go. I'm moving on to... So the reliance on BPS, on average, for the 20 harvest, the 160% of the bottom line, so more than 100% of the bottom line, is made up of BPS. And there's a strong message there. 84, the 19 harvest, obviously was a lot better harvest, so 84%, but top 25, about half. okay, of the very bottom line profit was BPS. But the 20 harvest average was 160%. So that goes to show how much we're relying on it. And as we'll hear from George here shortly, how BPS is going and what's going to be instead of it. Okay, just another quick one, just to set the scene before George joins us, is land. This is per acre, and very round terms, £10,000 an acre value of land. If you work out how an average gross margin, what can an average gross margin fund, will be around about £4,000 per acre. Okay, and if you went to Australia, or if you went to New Zealand or parts of America, that would be the value of the land. It would be based on what it can produce. Here in England and in the UK, we've got that capital with no economic return on it. And I think that's what the challenges that we're faced with, all that capital. And obviously if we own it and paid for it, that's fine. But in terms of progression and succession and starting up in farming, there's a huge amount of capital that arable farming in itself, and I think we can say about livestock as well, it doesn't fund it, basically. So what does fund that £6,000 per acre? Any thoughts on what might fund that part of it? Because it's not arable farming itself. Charles? Sorry? Development potential. Yeah, it could be development potential. But yes. Yes, development, including renewable energy, of course, yeah. So I agree with that, but I think the main drivers of that will be inheritance tax relief and rollover money as well. So that's what the driver. So the driver of that 60% of agricultural land value, and I know we've got Barclays Bank people, and I don't want to get you too nervous, but Barclays Bank people here this evening. So I think the key, so we're going to come back to this probably at the very end. Should you hand down all that value, and should you hand it down now? So the only question would be, if Boris can't keep his team together at the moment and we get a Labour government in, just to think about what might happen to that £6,000, because it's relying on inheritance tax and rollover money. Okay, so I'll just leave that with you, unless anybody wants to make a quick comment. So quickly, moving on. Sorry, there we go. This is my last slide for now. BPS and natural capital. And so this is the big debate and the big discussion we have on every farm at the moment. And I know many of you here have come just to look at this and to hopefully to learn from this. And George is going to talk to us in a couple of minutes. So basically, BPS, draw the line. Okay, that's it. We're into natural capital. BPS is obviously still with us for a while, but we've really got to get to grips. And that bottom part is a minefield. It's all new. It's been debated at the moment. We've got double funding, and we've had comments on our forum about can you be stacking natural capital, stacking 2 or 3 of those bottom rugby balls there, because we're into 6 nations at the moment. So bottom rugby balls there, can you actually put one on top of the other and double up? And I think that's the exciting bits potentially, because we've got some big numbers that are appearing for BNG, biodiversity net gain from development, which is coming on board. So George is going to give us all the answers on those over at the lecture there. So no pressure.
Shall I take that clicker?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing it for you. No.